What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This is the second video on this channel, as you can see, and I'm just going to get right into it after I give a brief explanation of what this channel will be about. As I said in video 1, this is extreme weather. It started as a Discord server, but we branched out into YouTube. If you want an explanation, go back to the start of video 1. However, how this is going to work is all of the people, not all of the people, but a lot of the people from the extreme weather forecasting team are going to join this YouTube channel, and we will post videos, all of us. Sometimes it will be um, one person, sometimes it'll be me, another time it'll be another person. So if you want to meet those people, you can go over to Extreme Weather, or you could head over to their YouTube channels. One of them is Andrew's Weather Predictions, and another one is Adrian's Weather Forecast. So we will switch off and on making forecasts and making videos, and yeah, that's how that will work. So let's jump right into the video. Alrighty, so here you can see we have our NHC map, and we have in the Western Caribbean a AOI which has a 60% chance of formation in the next 5 days. And this is up from 40 yesterday. All three of these were at 40 yesterday when I made my video. So right now we can see that the Western Caribbean AOI has gone up 20% for the 5-day period. And that is looking likely that it will form, and I'll get into that. The 97L, which is the red AOI, has a 70% chance of formation. That has gone up 30% since the last video. And 98L, which isn't looking too good, actually has dropped in percentage and is now at a 20% chance. And I will give reasoning and explanation to why I do not think 98L will form. However, 97L and that Western Caribbean AOI could be pretty big, so we'll get into that. Alrighty, let's go and jump right over to this. We have our ocean heat content. I showed this in the last video. It hasn't changed much, but you can see, oh my, let's change the color to black. But you can see right in the Gulf, we have a major area of very high ocean heat content. And look at this, right where that AOI is, we have a ton of ocean heat content in the Western Caribbean. Not a bunch up in this general vicinity where 97L is, however, that's pretty normal. You don't really get that much ocean heat content up there, and really there's going to be other factors which will let 97L intensify anyway. But you can see you have our AOI, which is right about here, and then it's going to move in this general direction, right? So it's going to move into the Gulf, into just more and more favorable conditions. And we will get into models for that soon, but first I'm going to go over how things are looking right now, and we will jump right into our sea surface temperatures. So, here we go. We have extremely warm sea surface temperatures in this entire area. This whole area, from the open Atlantic to the Western Caribbean to the whole Gulf. Really hot sea surface temperatures. We're practically boiling. I mean, you can see we have close to 31 degrees Celsius right here up on the Louisiana and Texas coast. We have well over 28 to 30 in the entire Caribbean where the AOI is. We have well over 30 in the entire Gulf. And we have high 20s up in the open Atlantic. I mean, super warm sea surface temperatures, not to mention how hot the main development region is. I mean, boiling temperatures out there, which will just give more energy to these AOIs and make them basically explode. I'll get into that in the models, but it's worrying, especially this AOI in the Caribbean. All right, now let's jump into shear. So this is shear as of now, and things are going to change, but this is what it looks like right now. I'm not expecting the AOI in the Caribbean to form in the next 2 days, neither is the NHC, because look, it's in this area where we have 30 to 40 knots of shear. You're not getting stuff in that. You're not. It's just not going to happen. It's going to move into this area, and I know it looks like a lot of shear, however, this is all going to move up and out. So the shear will definitely decrease, and it will definitely become a more favorable and conductive environment. Now, where 97L is, up in this general vicinity, we have basically no shear. I mean, we're just waiting for it to gather more convection and for some dry air maybe to subside. But once it does, 97L could definitely become quite a big show. Back down here, we have 98L. However, although there's not a ton of shear, I really am not expecting that to form at this rate. Okay, now let's jump into our shear tendency. So we can see going up is more shear, obviously. So the reds, the oranges, the pink. Going down, the yellows, the greens, the blues. That is where. Okay, sorry, I phrased that terribly wrong. So you can see actually over here, we have negatives, we have positives. Obviously, negative is going to mean going up, and positive, or negative is going to mean going down. Positive is going to mean going up. Sorry, it's been a pretty long day. All right, so we can see where that AOI is right about here. Shear is decreasing. Shear is decreasing. It does appear to be increasing in this area. However, it will start decreasing soon. Where we have 97L, shear is also decreasing. And it's going to move something like this before, obviously, it goes up and east into even less shear. But then, of course, it's going to have to suffer this giant blob or it will start, obviously, weakening. So let's jump into 98L's intensity guidance. However, first, I would like to show some satellite of 98L, and then we will jump into its model guidance. All right, so here we can see 98L's satellite and infrared imagery. You can see that band from yesterday still there, but overall, I'm going to be totally honest, it doesn't look quite as good as it did yesterday. You can see that there is some shear interacting with it. You have a lot of these cloud tops getting sheared to the east, sorry, to the west, and you can see that its center of circulation, which is somewhere around here, none of the cold cloud tops are over there. They're all in this general vicinity. You can see it circulating this way, and coming back around that way. But it's not looking as good as it did yesterday. Shear is interacting it, as I said earlier in the video, and really, I'm not expecting this to develop. I'm not. I don't see this developing, and the NHC has dropped probabilities for, or not dropped it, but brought it down from a 40 to a 30 in their newest update. So I don't see this forming, and I'm going to just be quick with how I show satellite imagery for this, and we'll move on to intensity guidance, and then we'll get talking about 97L. Alrighty, so here is 98L's intensity guidance. You can see that most models do have it kind of going and maybe, just maybe, getting to weak or possibly at the high end mid-range tropical storm status. You can see one model that's taking it almost up to hurricane status. I don't think by any means that that's going to happen. Some models sometimes do crazy things. I think something that I'm sort of projecting would be something like this, where maybe it gets to a depression, and technically that would be forming. However, I don't see this getting to a tropical storm. The highest end I would go is something like this. However, like again I said, I think more of something like this, where it gets near tropical storm status, but doesn't quite get there. Alright, so now let's move on to track guidance for it. And you can see here's the GEFS track guidance. You can see it's right by these islands right now, but it's going to move up and near actually a similar path to 97L. 97L's likely around here. I obviously can't see, but it's somewhere around in this general area. But yeah, it's going to take a similar path to 97L. It's just, it won't be as strong. I'm going to say that right now. It will not be like 97L, and I don't see any way it is like 97L. Alright, now we will move on to 97L, and we will look at some satellite imagery for it. Okay, now here we can see 97L, and I'm not gonna lie, yesterday 98L looked like the better storm. Now 97L does. You can see a clear cut circulation. It is as clear cut as you're gonna get, right there. As clear cut as you're gonna get for a circulation, in an invest at least. And then you can see we have some deep convection over here and over here. Yes, I won't lie, they're displaced as well. However, judging off the fact that 97L has a very good circulation and 98L doesn't, eh, I'm gonna have to give it to 97L. I'm gonna have to give the appearance at least to 97L, and you can actually see we do have some deep convection firing right here. We'll wait for the frame to go and for the deep convection to actually fire, but like you can see we have deep convection firing at least near the center. And I do think this will organize as the days go on, for sure. I do think it will organize, and I think that we could actually see a pretty decent system out of 97L. Now we will move on to intensity guidance and on to track. Alrighty, everybody. So here we can see 97L's model intensity guidance. And when we look at this, it looks rather impressive. I mean, it looks definitely more impressive than 98L's model guidance, which let's go back to that real quick and just compare the two. Yeah, look at this. We had a peak at tropical storm at maximum for 97L, and then or for 98L, and then we go over to 97L, and we have a peak up here at nearly category 3 with a model. Yeah, let's take a deeper look into this. We have one model, which I don't agree with, that doesn't even form this at all. I don't think that's going to happen. However, we have every other model taking this at least to tropical storm status. Mid-range tropical storm status at the minimum is what we're seeing here. Because this model is just doing weird things. I don't even know why it's doing what it's doing. However, every single model other than 2 take this to hurricane status. Look at this. Every model but 2 take it to hurricane status. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 models taking this to hurricane status. Yes, that is definitely something to watch. So, what am I thinking? Where am I meeting in the middle, right? So, I'm thinking at a minimum, something like maybe that, something like that. And then I'm thinking at a maximum, actually, I'm going to redraw that. Hold on. Okay, I'm thinking at a minimum, something kind of like this. Maybe a little spike, and then continues to gradually strengthen before gradually weakening. Then I'm thinking for maximum, something like this. We go, and there could be a period of rapid intensification, something similar. Maybe a category 1 near 2 peak before it starts weakening again. That's what I'm thinking for peak, or that's what I'm thinking for absolute highest prediction now, and that's what I'm thinking for the lowest prediction now. I do think this will get to at least tropical storm status, maybe even nearing category 1 hurricane status. I really do think that is a great possibility at this point. Now we will move on to our track. So you can see here, similar to yesterday, really nothing has changed, so we'll run through this pretty quickly. But you can see that we have it right around here as an inves right now, and it's going to move down the line before it could either go a little bit this way, it could stall out a little bit, and then it's going to curve and go east. Then around here, it's unknown. It's a big question mark. It could either turn and go that way and die, it could turn and go this way and die, or it could turn and go that way and die. Chances are it's going to die no matter which way it goes. Right. Okay. That's our track for now. Nothing really has changed since yesterday in terms of track, so we will move on to model guidance. First things first, unexpectedly, 99L has popped up in the Western Caribbean. It has been designated as I am making this video, and I have 1 frame of satellite imagery, of infrared imagery. That is how new this thing is. I only have 1 frame. I mean, here it is. You can see there's a lot of deep convection all over the place with this. Bunch of fuel, a bunch of moisture for just deep convection to rise everywhere. However, it's so new. I have 1 image of satellite imagery. I will make another video tomorrow, of course, and we will go deeper into this in terms of satellite imagery and intensity guidance and track guidance. But for now, let's actually move on to. Okay, so what you're about to see, I'm going to warn in advance. This is the 18Z GFS. I'm going to warn in advance before I show you this. There is a good chance that what the GFS is showing for this run does not happen. It has been consistent for the past few runs with a Gulf system and with a Caribbean system, at least a tropical storm. However, the 18Z run is showing something quite concerning. However, this is one run. So I will warn you in advance that there is a good chance this is not going to happen. I do not want to doomcast. I do not want to hype, but I also do not want to downplay. If you're in the Gulf and the Caribbean, you need to be watching the tropics closely. But what you're about to see, there is a good chance it does not happen. All right. So let's move forward. Right now we're around Sunday, the 29th of August. So we see 97L starts forming right around here. We have it at 1,005 millibars, a tropical depression. You can also see the Caribbean system forms. Maybe we have 98L form into something super weak, like I said, but not much. And you have an Eastern Pacific storm, but this is an Atlantic video. So, these systems are going to continue to move and strengthen. 98L dies, as you can see, but 97L and the new 99L in the Caribbean both start strengthening. You can see over here that that 97L is at 983 millibars, and it turns, and instead of continuing to go this way, it turns and curves and goes that way, like we've been noticing for the past few days. Now we had our 99L that formed around here, and it does something like this, right? So it goes into the Gulf, and it starts strengthening. And in the Gulf, I'm not going to lie, there is a lot of moisture, there is a lot of fuel, not a lot of shear, and extremely warm sea surface temperatures. There's a lot for systems to strengthen in the Gulf at this time of year. But let's go forward. 97L strengthens into a hurricane, and again, I'm not ruling this out because runs of both the Euro and GFS have shown this for the past 2 days. So I'm definitely, for certain, not going to rule 97L being at least a hurricane out. However, the 99L, I'm saying it could definitely be a tropical storm. However, right now, I'm not going farther than maybe a weak Category 1. Because I don't want to scare people, and this is only one run of the GFS showing what it's showing. Let's go forward and see what I'm talking about. So, it has 99L undergoing extremely rapid strengthening and dropping all the way down to 945 millibars at landfall. Once again, there is an extremely good chance that that will not happen. However, you gotta always point it out. Let's take a zoomed in look at what it is showing. So let's go down to our regions, and let's go into the Western Atlantic. You can see what it's showing. 945, 942. There's a, or 952. I can't phrase this enough. I am not forecasting a 942 millibar landfall in Texas. There is such a good chance that that will not happen. It is one run of the GFS, but people in the Gulf need to be watching the tropics regardless. People in the Gulf, people in the Yucatan, and people in the Caribbean need to all be watching the tropics. If you're in the East Coast right now, I'm going to say you're fine, at least for 97, 98, and 99Ls. I'm going to say you're fine if you're on the East Coast for now. Of course, there could be things after these three systems. But if you're in the Gulf, you're in the Caribbean, or you're in the Yucatan, you need to be watching this closely, very closely. Okay, let's move forward. We can see that the track takes this thing right over the Yucatan. Let's go back. Hold on. Okay, let's go back. We have, it's a depression probably for the entire time. It takes it over the Yucatan really weak, 1,004 millibars, maybe some rain and some wind. But then it starts strengthening rapidly in the Gulf. Like I said, there's a lot of energy in the Gulf. However, a 945 millibar landfall, I'm not forecasting that. There's a good chance that will not happen. Okay. However, Just for some reference, the GFS has been consistent on a Gulf system for the past few runs. It has not been consistent on placement or strength, but it has been consistent on just a system in general. We can see that it had a similar landfall, but at 991. There's a big difference between 991 and 942, right? There's a huge difference between those. Let's go back to 6Z. And still, I mean, yeah, it's been pretty decent with placement, but also 988, 986. That's still not 942. Let's go all the way back to OOZ this morning. It was all the way down here. It was all the way down in Mexico at 998. So it has not been consistent yet. It has not been consistent enough for me to say that a major hurricane is very possible. Of course, I can't rule it out, but it's not something I would be forecasting at all at this point. Okay, let's move on to the euro, and let's move on to other things. Okay, so here are the points to note in the closing segment, but here we go. Number 1, Gulf states, Caribbean, need to keep a close eye on the tropics. I cannot understate that. Now, I'm not forecasting a major hurricane. Could happen, not forecasting it. However, tropical storm, tropical depression, hurricane, major hurricane, they can all be dangerous and they can all be deadly. And right now, I am saying a tropical storm or depression is looking likely out of 99L. I'm going to say that. So, Gulf states need to keep a close eye on this, whether this is a depression or a major hurricane. Obviously, they won't have the same impacts. One is worse than the other, but either one you still need to keep an eye on, right? 98L's formation looking less likely. I went over that in the video. I don't think it's going to form. If it does, it will be a depression or a weak storm at absolute minimum. And then 99L and 97L looking very likely to form. 97L, I would not rule out a hurricane. Maybe even a Category 2 hurricane. I really would not rule that out. 99L, I don't know. I don't know for sure. It's looking like a tropical storm's pretty likely at this point. However, you can't know for sure. All right. Thank you all for watching. Discord link is in the description. And we will be back with more updates tomorrow.